It's Monday, July 1st, and this is the Climate One audio newsletter. I'm producer and editor Austin Colon.
And I'm producer and production manager Megan Basilia.
First, have you heard our most recent episode, Crude Awakening, Why Ecuador Voted to Stop Drilling in the Amazon? As countless countries around the world become more serious about reducing carbon emissions to meet international targets, many are still approving new oil and gas projects, committing us to increase global warming. Yet, an increasing number of countries are taking a stand to leave those future emissions in the ground, even at the expense of their own profits. Ecuadorians voted to halt the development of new oil wells in the Yasuni National Park in the Amazon, keeping around 726 million barrels of oil underground. Meanwhile, Costa Rica and Denmark have created the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance to facilitate the managed phase-out of oil and gas production. And a group of at least 13 countries, including many island nations and oil and gas-rich Colombia, are calling for a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty as a complement to the Paris Agreement. Can more nations set aside valuable profits from fossil fuel resources in favor of our collective desire for a livable climate? You can listen to the episode at climateone.org or wherever you get your pods.
Here are some upcoming Climate One live events. On September 16th, environmental icon Jane Goodall returns to Climate One in person to reflect back on her life's work and offer a look forward to how we can heal our relationship with nature by better understanding ourselves. The tireless Goodall is now focused on three intertwined crises: biodiversity loss, climate change, and environmental inequity. Dr. Goodall will be in conversation with Climate One founder Greg Dalton and Rhett Butler, founder of Manga Bay, a nonprofit media organization that delivers news and inspiration from nature's frontline via a network of more than 900 journalists in about 80 countries. Join us for an inspiring evening at the Sidney Goldstein Theater for a conversation on the harsh truths facing all life on Earth and a bright yet narrow path forward. Tickets are available at climateone.org.
On Wednesday, September 18th, we'll be joined by Justin Pearson. Back on March 27, 2023, 6 people were gunned down in a mass shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville. The horrific event led Tennessee State Rep. Justin J. Pearson and 2 colleagues to protest for common sense gun legislation on the Tennessee House floor. House Republicans retaliated by expelling Pearson and his colleague Justin Jones. Pearson ran and won back his seat with 94% of the vote. Pearson became a national voice for common sense gun regulation, yet he's also a strong advocate for climate and environmental justice, having worked to defeat a multi-billion-dollar crude oil pipeline that could have poisoned Memphis's drinking water and taken land from South Memphis residents. The Sierra Club recognized him as the 2023 National Changemaker of the Year. Join us for a conversation with a rising voice for environmental justice. You can buy tickets on climateone.org.
Here's what we're reading this week. California fossil fuel industry withdraws referendum on oil drilling near homes and schools. Just days before the deadline to finalize ballot measures to be sent to California voters this fall, the oil and gas industry withdrew its referendum attempting to overturn a ban on fossil fuel drilling within 3,200 feet of homes, schools, and businesses. Shortly after the state legislature implemented the ban with Law SB 1137 in 2022, the industry trade group known as the California Independent Petroleum Association set to work collecting signatures to qualify an initiative to overturn the ban for the 2024 ballot. Under California law, as soon as the ballot measure gathered enough signatures to be put to a vote, SB 1137 was put on hold, allowing drilling to continue near residential and commercial properties. An estimated 3 million Californians, many of whom are people of color, live, work, and attend school within a 3,200-foot radius of drilling sites, leading to elevated cases of respiratory illnesses and cancers. Climate justice and community health activists celebrated the pending implementation of the drilling ban. While the California Independent Petroleum Association claims to have withdrawn their questions to the voters in favor of challenging the ban in court, opinion polling shows that despite $20 million in fossil fuel advertising, an overwhelming majority of Californians were likely to vote for keeping the drilling ban in place.
And here are some other headlines we're keeping an eye on. From the New York Times, Supreme Court overrules Chevron doctrine, imperiling an array of federal rules. From The Guardian, Stanford disappoints critics of fossil fuel donations by hiring PR firm with big oil ties. From the AP News, Hawaii settles lawsuit from use over climate change. Also from the New York Times, how wombats may save other animals from wildfires. And from the Casper Star Tribune, next generation nuclear breaks ground in small town, and not everyone's ready for it. All right, let's connect the dots. The Inflation Reduction Act, which passed in Congress with virtually no Republican support, allocated hundreds of billions of dollars for climate resilience and clean energy implementation. 2 years later, the data is clear. Congressional districts held by Republicans have received the vast majority of IRA funding. Roughly 3/4 of IRA funding, or $268.5 billion, has been directed to districts held by Republicans. Will this massive influx of federal funds, which often leads to new jobs and savings for local residents, spur further support for green energy in red states? Climate One co-host Greg Dalton and Ariana Brocious spoke with 3 experts to find out, and you can listen to that episode now on climateone.org.
We want to hear your story. Do you work outside or in a kitchen, a warehouse, or other place where you're feeling the heat? How have rising temperatures impacted the way you work? Let us know what it's like by sending us an email at climateone@climateone.org. We may use it in an upcoming episode. One more thing. Is there an outstanding climate communicator in your life? Nominations are now open for Climate One's annual Stephen H. Schneider Award for Outstanding Climate Science Communication. Anyone can submit a name for consideration, regardless of whether you personally work in the climate field. Past winners include Katherine Hayhoe, Robert Bullard, Ben Santer, and Naomi Ireskes. Complete criteria for this award is available on our website. Submissions are open now through July 31st. Submit a name today at climateone.org. And that's it for this week's Climate One newsletter.
Thanks for listening.